productivity, winning strategies, and aligning employer-employee goals. If this sounds like something your business could use more of, then you've come to the right place. The Business Mechanic Show with your host, Vaughn Sigmund. Let Vaughn show you how to develop, improve, and jumpstart your business. So now, please welcome the host of The Business Mechanic, Vaughn Sigmund.
Welcome to the Business Mechanic Show. This is your host, Vaughn Sigmund, co-founder of Results-Driven Leadership. Today, we're going to be talking about a very important topic that kind of goes with the last couple podcasts, and that's unlocking the power of employee recognition. I'm going to give you the keys to effective leadership and this element that is so essential and important in a people-first culture. In today's world of successful leadership, one thing's clear. A thriving employee recognition program is just non-negotiable. Why? Because recognition is a basic human need. You know that. That human need drives engagement, productivity, loyalty, happiness, hard work. It all makes you the beneficiary. Because when employees feel valued and appreciated, they go above and beyond, which in turn propels your organization and your results, your career to all new heights. But it's not just about occasional gestures. Today, I'm going to share with you some inexpensive to no cost ways approach employee engagement that will give you the ideas you need that you can start implementing right away. Recognition is all about fostering a culture where employees consistently feel seen and recognized for their contribution. When leaders prioritize the well-being and growth of their team members, and I've seen this happen so many times, magic happens. Open communication flourishes, trust builds, a positive workplace environment takes root, people start getting along, less gossiping going on, people are working in conjunction, there's this power of team that's going into building success within your team and your organization. That's why you want a people-first mindset. It's so easy if I don't understand, A, the value of this. More importantly, what I'm going to talk about today is the how of this. How I do this. What are some easy, simple ways that I can approach employee recognition that's going to be successful? And employee recognition programs, or just recognition, let's just call it recognition, that strengthens the dynamics of the relationship you have with the people who work with you. By providing you, a leader, a manager who wants to aspire to a more effective leader with opportunities to connect with your employees. These simple programs I'm going to share with you today reinforce the behavior and values that lead to an organization's success, team success. People work for people. 50% of everybody that leaves a company left because of ineffective leadership. They did not respect their boss. They were getting poor leadership. And one of the most commonly cited reasons why that leader was displaying ineffective leadership was they did not recognize hard work of their team. And without that constant recognition or deposits into the emotional bank account, talk about frequently, that's the bridge it has to build. And if all you do is point out problems, all you're doing is making withdrawals. That drives a wedge between you and them. You may not know it because you're too busy putting out fires. you're too busy doing your work, there may not be something, an element of your management approach that's important to you. But friends, I've got to tell you, you need to make it important to what you do. Slow down. This is really important to you. More importantly, it's important to your team. Take care of your team. They'll take care of you. Everything else will take care of itself. Unleash the potential you in yourself as a leader, as a manager, becoming a better leader. Unleash the potential you have in driving motivation those who work alongside you every day. Now, here's what happens. You may recognize some of this as I go through this list of systems. When there's not a recognition approach, a recognition program that leaders of specific particular leaders, it does not have recognition as a big part of their leadership style or approach. When it's absent or ineffective, you may think you're recognizing your folks, but it may be ineffective. You need to understand how they like to be recognized. And I'm going to share all that with you. Stick with me. But you don't have this as part of your daily activities, or if what you think you're doing is not working, it's ineffective, consequences are pretty stark. Turnover rates soar. Unappreciated employees are always going to be seeking greener pastures. But even if they stay with you, they're going to have less enthusiasm, drive less initiative, less inspiration to do a great job, morale, in the absence of recognition plummets. And along with that, productivity. It's a huge suggestions, ideas, innovation, forget about it. With no incentive to go the extra mile, and it's not monetary, please make that real quick because it just popped into my mind. Money does not motivate them. It's nice, but what I'm talking about today is how you motivate your team. And it doesn't require money. Try to throw money at a team to motivate them. It doesn't work. It may work for a short period of time, but it doesn't work sustainably. And if you've got a team of employees that you're scratching your head, you're questioning, how do I get more out of them? They're just doing the bare minimum. Likely that you're not incorporating recognition as a regular part of their diet. You're stifling growth, you're stifling progress. And that's not all. When you have an ineffective or inadequate recognition program, remember I mentioned earlier the gossip, maybe you have some infighting. That breeds, the lack of recognition breeds poor team dynamics, and it creates conflict. It may be conflict between your team members or other teams, or maybe conflict with where you disengaged from any kind of collaboration. Do you want to attract great people? Do you wonder why it's hard to find good people? And when I get them, they don't tend to hang around a long time? A company that fails to recognize employees, it damages its brand, it damages its reputation. There's a million reviews out there of employees before they apply to a position, they read those reviews. And that just drives people away from ever considering. It makes it really difficult to attract top level talent, because when employees take the time to go online and brag about how awesome their employer is, how they're recommending this as a great place to work, that's where you want to go. And let me tell you, those companies have that dynamic, that positive dynamic around their brand with their employees, recognition that their employees are recognizing their employer. we're doing a great job, all because the employer really has a program. They've got a people first mindset. They have a program. They've got managers in their mindset, in their regular toolbox to pat people and recognize them. And in today's world, I've got to tell you, it's ever harder. I've been managing employees, leading people for over 40 years. And I can tell you today, right now, it's harder than it's ever been. It's no longer a luxury, friends. It's a strategic imperative. It is the key to effective leadership and people first cultures. You must drive employee satisfaction. You must drive engagement and success. They just don't do it on their own. It's up to you, their leader. So please don't underestimate the power of recognition. It's so simple, but it's so basic to our human needs. And please embrace it. Think about it. Go look in the mirror. How am I really doing? And I'm going to give you some ideas around this. Go look in the mirror and am I really putting my people first? And when you do, if you are, you're not having some of the problems I spoke of earlier. But if you're not, or maybe slightly ineffective or mostly ineffective, or it's absent in total, you watch your organization turn around and thrive. It is amazing. It is the answer to almost every employee problem outside of just hiring the wrong employee. Gallup, my favorite employee information. They have conducted a whole lot of extensive research on this in the workplace, between managers, between employees and managers. And it frequently highlights, it is all over their surveys. When there's challenges with employees, it shows up in surveys. And it screams the importance of recognition. According to their findings, a lack of recognition, it's not just a minor oversight. It has significant, measurable impacts on any organization and teams and managers, productivity and accountability, and the ability to attract and retain the best people possible. I'm going to give you some more of Gallup statistics. Employee, we talk about that a lot, but when you've got happy people who are engaged, bought in and aligned with the company, you've got a people first mindset, and you've got a company, an organization that's going to smell competition. And let me tell you, those managers have a better life than you do if you don't have much better life. Their problems are very different. Their problem is all about figuring out how to grow more, not about how to put all these fires out. Not because people don't listen to them, people don't follow through, people are gossiping behind their backs. All they have those problems. You need an engaged workforce. And this has happened year after year. Their feedback through millions and millions of surveys constant reports back that employees do not feel adequately recognized. But the ones that do feel recognized, they're twice as likely to stay. And those who aren't recognized, they say they'll quit. They're twice as likely to quit in the next year. Hiring and training people is expensive. It kills productivity. You're constantly having to add new people into the architecture. It slows things down, and it takes a lot of effort on your part. Hang on to them. And if you have a workforce that is not putting out what they should or could be putting out, it's because you're not recognizing them properly. I promise you. Let's talk about productivity. Gallup's data also clearly suggests that employees who do not feel recognized, not only less productive, but specifically teams with high employee engagement are 21% more productive than those with low engagement. You get a 20% increase in productivity if I'm just recognizing people. And it costs nothing. Just effort. Just a little effort in the right mindset. Let's talk about performance. Recognition is the number one thing employees say their manager could give them to inspire them, to motivate them to produce more work, greater work, higher quality. Consequently, lack of recognition is going to lead to decrease in performance. The word accountability comes up a lot. I want to drive accountability. I want my people to be more accountable. You want them to be more accountable? Good, you should. How do I do that? Well, you can't legislate it. You can't command, control, and write people up that will lead to engagement and them owning their work. Gallup's research clearly indicates employees who are recognized for their work more likely to take ownership and accountability for their performance. When recognition is missing, absent, employees feel less responsible. In order for them to care, you have to show you care. And when they know you care, they're going to care about you. And so their output increases, quality increases, engagement increases. I heard this the other day. I was meeting with a friend of mine who's in a similar business. And I believe it was Simon Sinek he was quoting during our discussion. And I haven't gone back to find the quote on this, but what is a manager's job? What is a leader's job? I'll let you think about that for a second and build an answer. What is your job? I bet it's not what Simon Sinek brought up, but I bet you'll appreciate what Simon Sinek shared. Your job as a leader is to take care of your people. Take care of your people. That's your job. Protect them. Keep them safe. Keep them well fed and trained. Keep them motivated. Placing their careers, their livelihoods, their lives in your hands every day. They want to be happy. They want to do a great job. And unfortunately, it's their leader who either prevents them from doing a great job and being happy and thriving, who wants to go to work and not enjoy themselves. Or it's the leader who's taking care of them, that really cares about their team. Those are the leaders that really see all the byproducts we're looking for. And even when there's multiple leaders within an organization, let me absolutely tell you, I can prove this all day, every day. In organizations, if you've got a particular leader or two who are really exceptional, who really commit to a lot of recognition, they outperform their colleagues, their peers. Those teams outperform their peers across the board. Cost, output, quality, loss prevention, idle time. They care about the customer. They care about the company. They care about their boss because the boss cares about them. They don't work for the company. They work for you, friends. Now, how often should you be given recognition? Let's talk about that. Here's what the vast majority of employees say. 1 in 3 workers in America strongly agree. 1/3 third of million surveyed strongly agree that they received recognition or praise for doing a good work. Strongly agree that they've gotten recognition. Last 7 days, I left that part out, for doing a good job. And three, their boss has not said a thing to them in a week. At the same time, Gallup's data reveals that employees who are not properly recognized at least 3 times or more are highly likely to leave. Wow. They just want to know that you see them working hard. And it doesn't have to be anything super formal. Just tell them you appreciate them. It's critical. These statistics are just key indicators of how critical the role recognition is in the well-being, safety, appreciation, inspiration of your team, of your organization. And a lack of recognition, it's not just a human resource. This isn't human resources. This is your job. Yeah, we can have a company program that HR runs. That's fine. We can have a monthly recognition launch, and they maybe be able to create some of the elements, but they don't work for HR. They work for you, and you need to be giving them the recognition they require. To be effective, the best leaders I've ever worked with understand that regular, meaningful feedback, positive feedback recognition is one of the most powerful tools they have in the chest. And you as the manager, you're it. Now you have to also offer favoritism. I'm going to throw a couple warnings at you. You have to spread it. Now, I do not ever want you to be disingenuous with your recognition. If somebody's constantly being a problem, constantly doing a bad job, you must give them that feedback. Absolutely. You don't give them positive reinforcement for doing a bad job. Don't ever make that mistake. Or tell them they're doing, you pat them on the back in the hopes that's going to turn them around. You may have made a bad hire. Or you may have been ignoring them. The recognition may help, but that's a whole nother podcast to how if somebody slipped off, everybody else is doing fine. You got one person that's doing a poor job, seems to be checked out on you. That's a whole nother difficult conversation. It's a crucial conversation you have to have. I've got a podcast on it. But here's where I was going. Sorry. Drove into a little bit of a ditch there. Watch out for favoritism, because your best people are always going to be your best people. And you don't want it to be the same person or persons, one or two, over and over again, because that can have a negative impact on team morale. When employees feel that recognition is based on a personal relationship, and let me talk more about that, rather than merit, man, does that create a toxic workplace. So be careful of having friendships at work. Be careful of having happy hours, an employee or two, or hanging out with people who work for you. It is a huge mistake, and I'm sorry to have to tell you that. Once you got into the position you're at, you can have a professional relationship with them, but the personal relationship, you have to be super careful. If you invite one out, you need to invite many out. If you get together with one over on the weekend, that's okay, but everybody needs to be involved. You cannot show favoritism. That bites you in the butt. So your recognition will hurt you. So be careful with that. So you need to be diligent in making sure you're spreading the recognition, making sure everybody's getting the pats on the back, They deserve it. It needs to be fair. It needs to be transparent. And you need to have an internal, clear criteria for how you're going to recognize folks. But it must be directly linked to not because you like them the most, but some level of performance, some level of their contribution. And as you follow your own guidelines, keeping this in mind, people understand what the standards are. But please watch out for your own biases. You might want to seek some feedback. If you got a great relationship with your employees and you say, hey, listen, do you think I'm being a little biased or showing favoritism with how I pat people on the back? They'll tell you. If you don't have a good relationship, they won't tell you. If you're not getting feedback from your employees, if they're not pushing back every now and then, if they're not challenging you every now and then, if they're not coming to you and telling you what you can do better, you don't have a good relationship with them. Be careful with that. It's a bad sign. And you may be showing favoritism. So we work in a meritocracy. And when you recognize based on people's merits and achievements, hard work and output, that drives employee engagement. More importantly, it lowers the barrier of trust. And when they trust you and you trust them, you care about them, they'll care about you. If you respect them, they'll respect you. It's a two-way street. Don't demand what you don't give. So let's talk about the gap. Here's some reality for you. Here's the gap between managers who believe they're doing a good job of recognition and how employees really feel they're being recognized. How effective are these managers who feel they're doing a good job of recognition? What do employees say about that behind their backs to develop? It's a huge disconnect, y'all. This is a scary disconnect between managers' perceptions of how well they're doing this and employees' feelings about being appreciated. And that gap is significant because it points to a common misunderstanding that can have a profound impact on engagement, productivity, job satisfaction, hard work, inspiration, all those things. Here's the statistics. Here's the proof. Again, millions of employees and managers were surveyed for this, and it's all anonymous. So perception versus reality. Phillips data has shown that while managers may believe they're given recognition, only about 1 in 3, 30%, strongly agree with that. I mentioned that earlier. How frequent should the recognition be? According to SHRM, the Society of Human Resources Management, they're the juggernaut of all things HR and another company, Global Floor. While 80% of organizations have some sort of employee recognition program, only 34% of employees of those organizations feel they receive regular recognition. That's where you HR do the recognition and you as the manager or leader are not recognizing. If you're relying on someone else to do the recognition, you're not walking up and say, hey, wow, I'm so glad you're working with me today. So glad you're on my team. Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you for doing that. You're such a pleasure to work with. Taking a few minutes to say those kind of words, that's what leaders need to be doing. Because that's quality recognition. Here's another statistic. This was by Burson and Associates, I think. They were bought by Deloitte, but they found that 75% of organizations, they have a recognition program. but less than half even know about it. Less than half of the employees even know about it. What is that telling you? It tells me that recognition isn't very well executed. It's not very effective. And think about this. I've done a couple podcasts now on accidental manager. You were great, so you got promoted. I was one of those too. But I didn't receive manager training, which is what I do to help you, what my team does to provide you. Another point of disconnect is that while many managers, they recognize the importance of giving praise, they're just not sure how to do that. And a survey by O.C. Tanner found that almost 60%, 58% of employees, almost 60% of the employees say that their leaders could improve on their recognition. After all, that shouldn't surprise you. Another survey by Office Team found that 90% of executives believe they're good at recognizing staff, but less than 60% of their staff say they're being rewarded for a job well done. I'm doing it, but the people that it's affecting and I'm trying to influence by it. But I give them a review. Monthly, I do a review with everybody, and doing that, you're way ahead. But you need to embrace both informal and formal recognition, daily, weekly recognition that is informal. You're going to have formal recognition. You're going to have employee of the month, team member of the week, or whatever. You're going to have these formal programs. Good. I want you to have those. But there's an informal part of this that you have to make time for. You have to manage by walking around. You have to catch doing it right. Because half the managers believe that I gave them a raise. I throw money. I remember I mentioned that earlier. I gave them more money. It should be enough. But 65% of employees would rather receive immediate verbal feedback than a raise. Doesn't have to be in the form of compensation. In fact, it shouldn't be. Yes, you should have a merit review system. That's, again, a whole nother program, but that is not recognition. Recognition is just words. Words are more valuable than money. So please don't try to throw money at it. It's ineffective. So hopefully those statistics underscore the need for managers to get this prioritized, their daily activities. Your employees need to be given a verbal recognition of doing a good job, of your appreciation, of your care for them multiple times per week. You say that's fine, but you can't miss a few days. 3 times per week is the optimum. Once per week is the low end of optimum. And anything below that, you're failing. You've got to bridge that gap if you're not doing it now. Now, here's my biggest warning, and I'm going to get into some ways to recognize this, I promise, but I feel compelled to set all this up. This is my single biggest ooga warning. If you decide as an organization or even as a leader within an organization to introduce a recognition program, that is a very serious commitment. And you have to be disciplined and dedicated, committed to it over a long time in perpetuity to gain the best results. Having it demonstrates a promise to the employees that their hard work is going to be acknowledged and celebrated. But the significance of maintaining this program cannot be overstated. If you listen to this podcast, you say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to start going around patting people on the back and I'm going to get up multiple times during the week. That's what I learned on the Business Mechanic Show. Awesome. I want to do that. But you can't do it for a week or two and then stop. If you start utilizing some of the ideas I'm going to share in a minute, and you get out on a great start and you do it for a month, you do it for 90 days, you do it for a quarter or two, and then all of a sudden things get busy and interruptions start happening and you start delaying it or forgetting about it, consequences are horrible. You can't, once you start, you cannot stop. Recognition programs get dropped, disregarded, delayed, or inconsistent. And I've seen that inconsistency much. There's going to be an employee of the month. The boss, the CEO, is going to take all the employees of the month from each department out to lunch with them every month. And then it becomes every 2 months. And then it got skipped a couple months. And then, oh, we'll make up for it. We'll get everybody over the last 3 months back together and we'll take everybody. It loses its impact. Too much water's gone under the bridge. Yes, you're admitting to it, but you have to be disciplined. It has to happen when you say happen regularly. Because when that breaks down, it's sending a message that you don't hear. And that's very damaging. Employees often see the cessation of that sensation, the stopping of that, as a sign that their contributions are no longer valued. Why don't they like me anymore? That drives to a very sharp decline in engagement, which leads to a decline in productivity, more gossiping, more problems. Just don't do it. Don't undermine your credibility as a leader. Don't undermine the trust that you're building with this. If you start, stick with it. I'm now to the part of the show I want to make some suggestions for some low or no cost recognition programs. First of all, let's talk about public recognition. I'm going to give you a company that I personally know, worked with. This one's in retail. And for public recognition, an employee store consistently exceeded sales targets and received positive feedback from customers. Our customer service scores are really high. So the manager set a wall of fame in the break room. And each time any of their employees had a positive customer review, boop, up on the wall of fame. Along with that, he sent an email out to the team recognizing them, shared that with everybody, but made it permanent up on the wall of fame. Any customer compliments got showcased. And when you do that, motivation. I want to do more of that. Reward the behaviors you seek. Reward the behaviors. You want them to take care of your customers. It's not just an expectation. You have to recognize that they're meeting the expectation. This next one, I personally have used myself. I've seen others use it, and it is incredibly powerful. It's of all the things I'm going to share with you, I should have saved this till later, but this is the one that is unbelievable in its power. And in this case, it was in hospitality, the example I'll show you. And it was a hotel housekeeping member. They went above and beyond to take care of a guest. Got positive feedback. And the manager of this hotel wrote a personal thank you note. to this housekeeping staff member expressing their gratitude to their employee. I did this back when I was in a retail business, CarMax. I'd do a couple things. When somebody made our President's Club, when a sales team member or sales consultant made President's Club, often would write them a note thanking them for their hard work and my appreciation for their success and how hard I know they worked to get there. I would sometimes just leave them a voicemail on their office phone, thanking them for a job well done. Come in early before anybody was there. I'd start, if somebody had a really good day the day before or had the best month they ever had, or there was some milestone to their achievement, I'd start leaving voicemail on their phones. That really boosts morale and that connection between you and them. That's how you motivate people. This has been used on me. I've used it on others. Professional development opportunities. I saw in a marketing company I worked with, a marketing assistant wanted to get ahead. And they knew they had a love, a passion around social media strategy. Their boss enrolled them into an online course, them to learn more about social media strategy. I think it was maybe a $100 course. It was very inexpensive. I say, I'm going to get ahead. My boss says, sure, let me give you the tools to get ahead. Here's a course. Could be a conference. Could be a lot of things. Educate your people. It's amazing when people care about you and you care about them, how they want to learn. Give them that opportunity. Because when you do, that employee feels invested. They invest in you because you invested in them. Compliment them, invest in them. When you do that, you're guaranteed career growth, dedication, engagement, and they're going to care more about you because you're caring about them. Peer recognition programs. Did this for a long time. One healthcare company I worked for, a ton of nurses, and these nurses had to support each other. And they had a bond with each other. And so this healthcare company implemented a peer-to-peer recognition program where their peers could nominate them for Star of the Month. And they took it seriously, and they did it every single month, and they'd done it for years. One that my peers, my coworkers appreciate it, and that they're actually taking the time and nominate me for some kind of recognition. Huge. Here's another one. It's very effective in today's world. Time off. Time off. Just an extra day off, extra vacation day. When you award people with extra time off, time and experience and freedom today is more valuable than ever. That is much more cherished than a Starbucks gift card. Please don't give out Starbucks gift cards. You want to create a experience. You want to create a memory. One will last, that is more of a tangible memory than just, hey, great job, here's a gift card. Studies have found that is an ineffective way of recognizing you. Now, if that gift card is associated with a public recognition and a thank you, or maybe something else that is more tangible that they can hang on to, remind themselves of, okay, that's fine. But just, okay, everybody, here's your Starbucks gift cards for the month. And that's all that goes into it. A little oversimplified there, but The gift card itself does not motivate somebody. It's the conversation. It's how they're being recognized, the words, the touch, the memory that's being created by their boss. And when I just give an extra day off, along with a personal thank you, maybe in public, that's creating the memory. Here's one I saw in the construction business. As you may imagine, if you're not in the construction business, safety is huge. They're constantly worried about safety for a lot of reasons. One, you get hurt. But secondly, it's very expensive. Compensation is not a cheap expense either. And the less safety issues you have, accidents you have, the less your costs are. But more importantly, I don't want him getting hurt that works with me. So they had a recognition program around safety, and they had created mentors, safety subject matter experts that were responsible for any new employee to the organization had to work with this mentor on safety for a certain period of time. That rewarded the mentor. Felt important. I'm an expert. I'm valuable around here. I'm responsible for this very important aspect of our business. To support all that, the company also featured the mentor or the new employee or someone who had audit on their safety. And they put them in their monthly news. I love monthly company newsletters, by the way. So think about that. Creating mentorship around some significant part of your business. That's recognition. Done these forever. It's a great bonding method. Employees love it. It's potlucks, team lunches, potlucks. Buy the roast or the burgers or whatever, the turkey, the chicken, and everybody else brings a dish. Let everybody share their culture, their experience. Today's blend of so many different aspects of life and backgrounds, their favorite recipes, their pride in being able to give to others. Yeah, some are going to stop by the Publix and pick up something on the way in, but they brought something in, they contributing. The ones that, but you'll find many will cook something very special that they're proud of and bring it to these potlucks, and everybody will rave over those. I had some great lunches. But just this communal meal fosters this camaraderie. You've got to pluck yourself down in the middle of it too. You can't be too busy to not join them for lunch. You got to plot yourself down for maybe an extended period of time to get through a couple lunch breaks, a couple other people's lunch breaks to foster camaraderie. I can tell you this was an approach of mine for years. Is I never went out. I rarely went out to lunch, and I rarely went out to dinner when my shift included a dinner break. Always had it in the break room. Always brought it and had it in the break room. One, it saved money, sure. But more importantly, and that really wasn't it, more importantly, I got to be able to sit and eat, commune those who worked with me. I got to build a relationship. They got to know me a little bit. I got to joke around with them. I got to hear about what was going on in their lives. If they had questions, I was accessible to them. I could maybe share some news. I could answer questions for them. It is super valuable just to sit there and be available during mealtime. But I love potluck lunches. Special projects. Man, this is what my boss did early in my career that made me feel so important, special. And I still, to this day, and in touch with this boss. Thank you, Ted. for these opportunities he gave me for special projects. Now, I had to go bust my butt to get these special projects done, but I got to travel somewhere. I got to go get something accomplished. Generally, I had to clean up a store somewhere that had gone to hell, or had to cover a store while somebody was out, maybe had gotten fired, whatever, or out on maternity. But I was able to go and do something outside of my norm. He trusted me enough to go do this, and that made me feel very special. Not everybody got to do that. Find special projects. It's not extra work, it's recognition. Find special projects for someone you want to take care of, maybe develop. Thank you. Thank someone you want to thank, and give them a special project to lead, or to get them to focus on a process improvement. Come back with a report. Tell me how we're going to do this. Make them feel special. Make them feel empowered. This is one that's been used a lot. It's really important when parking is tough at your facility. That's a special employee of the month parking spot close to the front door. They get that for a month. I used to see people get so happy about that. That was so special for them. They park right by the front door and walk in rather than 10 ball fields away to get to work. Employee of the month park. That's just a handful. It's 11, 10, 11. How simple they are. See how low cost they are. Very easy measures. And not overlooking the fact that you need to manage by walking around, spend time, get your butt up, get out there, get elbow to elbow with team members, work beside them for a minute, walk around, catching them doing it right. Just as simple. Great job. I see you doing a great job. And they just know that their boss sees it and recognizes it. It's the core of our hierarchy of needs, is to be appreciated. So please weave recognition and appreciation into your daily activities. It costs you next to nothing but some effort, but it has amazing impact on the results. Well, that's a wrap on another episode of the Business Mechanic Show. If today's content resonates with you, then you're going to love what we have to offer. For those of you who are ready to take your business or personal career to the next level, we have an array of training and coaching services tailored just for you. From performance coaching designed to enhance your potential, to executive coaching that guides leaders to steer their ships towards greater success. Are you in sales management or looking to fortify your leadership acumen? Dive into our sales management training and coaching. Not only will it sharpen your strategies, but it will also provide you an ROI that's undeniable. Remember, the best investment you can make is in yourself and your team. For those seeking flexible learning options, we're excited to share our online and in-person management leadership classes. These aren't just your typical courses. They are meticulously crafted, ensuring that they align with your unique needs and aspirations. And the best part, prices start at just $47 per month, making top-tier coaching and training accessible for everyone. Your growth, both personally and professionally, can have a ripple effect, the one I call the transformational triangle of change. The skills you learn, the perspectives you gain, and the efficiencies you create can translate into increased revenues, more cohesive teams, and an enriched company culture. So why wait? The potential ROI on this investment isn't just in dollars, it's in the progressive future you're carving out for yourself and your organization. Thanks once again for tuning in. And remember, every business needs a tune up every now and then. Let the Business Mechanic Show be your guide. Check out our website, rdltraining.com, to discover more details on our programs and coaches. We have a link in the show notes to guide you there. Until next time, we're out of here.